Picking up on, I think Sam's, is it Sam's? Yeah, Sam's point. Me and Bernard were discussing before how you actually get participation of the fans to react. Now, if you look at the big clubs, especially the ones where I've changed the stadiums, Arsenal, Man City, the atmosphere goes down. And to some extent, it takes quite a few years to get that atmosphere back. Mm-hmm. Now, even in our club, we come from Springfield Park, so the fans have been retransplanted. And what I was wondering is if we could get ways of involving the fans with the club so we got more noise in the stadium. Mm-hmm. And what I was thinking was this: let's suppose I know you give a lot of free tickets to kids in the South Stand. Let's suppose you had a competition where you could say to the kids, come up with a good chant. Doesn't matter where it is, but a competition. So each school say, as a competition where the best in the school comes forward, you offer a prize to the club. Also, what we're thinking about was we seem to be missing that drummer.
Yes.
Now, I know Dave Whelan's involved with bands and stuff like that. Now, there are quite a lot of spaces towards the end of the east stand and probably the west stand, but I can't see them. But so, if you could get little bands up there and get them making, some noise, they're not going to affect anybody around them. But so that at the same time, wherever the kids have come up with the chants, that's a tune to it. Mm-hmm. Then, if you then printed some like song sheets for the rest of the fans, you've a more reasonable chance of everybody singing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And actually encouraging the players. What I would also suggest is the focus. You don't want the chance to be obscene or anything like that. Is what you're more interested in is to encourage the players on the pitch. What do you think?
Yeah, I think all the initiatives are fantastic, and I think we want that. We want that to have that noise and that warmth in the crowd. And I would agree with you that we're missing the drummer. The drummer was an inspirational figure, but you will not believe the amount of complaints we had because of the drummer as well. So if you're saying that would be something that it would happen, I would be very surprised. I cannot imagine people being happy of having 4 bands playing at the same time. Even they're complaining with one drummer.
No, the initiative. It's not because of complaints the drummer's gone, is it?
No. The opposite. When he was playing, he said, "You want to watch football and you get this drum here," and we had so many complaints.
The drummer's not left on our account, by the way.
No. He's joined the.
No one's actually complained about it when he's
joined the army.
That's all right.
He's going to another fight. A smaller fight.
I wasn't suggesting there'd be areas around where quite a lot of people are.
Yeah.
But if you put them in areas where there wasn't many people around them, you wouldn't hardly get any complaints. That's why I suggested in the upper corners.
Can I just come in there, guys?
Yeah.
We tried something similar last season with.
We had 2 drummers.
We had 3 drummers. 3 or 4 drummers, and they came and they lasted 10 minutes before they were verbally abused by our own fans.
That sounds reasonable.
Told to get out of the way, stop spoiling the game. So it's a funny one. We realised how important the drummer was, which is why we used to give him a free ticket. And we will be trying to find another one in time for the next game. But in terms of trying to organise anything different, it's kind of law of the jungle out there, so it's not as straightforward as you might think.
I have been to an England game where I've been in front of that band.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the drummers are alright if it's not drumming in front of you.
It's a very subjective thing. Some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah, but
it's great, but it's and also I think songs and chants tend to be natural.
Yeah.
If you try and force it, it becomes artificial, and people rebel against it.
Yeah, because you get that song coming out, it don't work. I've written a song, no, it don't work.
But to get more atmosphere in the ground, I think it's great. We do need to do that, and I think, as Ed says, we're actively looking for another drummer to replace the one that we're.
I just didn't want to come to you publicly, just because if you put a demand for drummers, you might get like 50 kind of replying, which that might be a good thing, but I might well come to you and ask that if you know somebody or you want to see it like a more of a subtle, do you fancy it kind of thing.
But Sam says he's back for the Blackburn.
Yeah, apparently he's back for the Blackburn game.
Yeah,
temporarily.
Yeah.
Right. So we do need one permanent.
I'll get in touch with
You see, I would offer it to do the drumming, but the West Stand, I don't think it'd take off really.
You probably won't take off. Did you get the South Stand whistling there as well, didn't you?
Well, he's still there, that fella, yeah. But you need somebody with a strong constitution, basically. I think in a serious, on a serious point, the thing about Craig was that he was from that section. The crowd knew him, they liked him as a person. He was one of them, so it was accepted. If you try and put anybody else in there as an outsider, there's a kind of Law of the Jungle thing going on there, which is good in the sense that it creates atmosphere.
Yeah, but I wasn't necessarily. You're talking, what I'm saying, you're focusing on just one aspect. What I also said is, why do you not try to get the children involved? So, with the schools, so they were. If you've got a bunch of kids in, say, in the South Stand, and all that same school singing the same thing, is you've more greater chance of it catching on than everybody doing something spasmodic in various parts of the stadium.
The schools are all different every match. We've got a database of over 200 schools.
Yeah.
So the schools that do participate in the group ticket aren't the same schools every week. So it's schools it can be schools from Southport, from Skelmersdale, St Helens, Warrington, Wigan, Chorley, all over the place. So it's different and it's different children every week. So we don't necessarily know who's.
So do you actually give away free tickets?
Yes, we do. Yes,
Yeah,
part of the group ticket.
So what I'm saying is, if you're giving away a free ticket, do something in exchange for it. Your exchange bit.
You can't really demand that people sing.
You can't demand it.
No, but
what I'm saying is, you can say, this is what we.
Choirs from each school.
It's an interesting idea.
Okay, fair enough.
We're all open. Any initiatives, any ideas, we're all open to that. What we want is good atmosphere, but it's harder than you think to create an unanimous voice out there.
Oh no!
Unfortunately,
I'm usually one not singing at West Stand.
Can I come back to John? That database you said that the kids
Yes.
at different schools.
Yes.
Do these kids? Does the database let you know whether these kids actually come back on their own accord afterwards?
That's a difficult thing to track. It's a difficult thing to track. We're actively
just give them as a
child protection. You wouldn't be able to keep records of the.
We actively sell on after they participate in the group ticket scheme. We then market those people to try and sell half-season tickets, season tickets, match tickets, to try and get them back. And I know one school that participated at the end of last season, and I know one of the kids that he was from Chorley, and he was a Manchester United fan, and he came to I think he had the Everton or Tottenham game, and he came to the West Ham game, and after the West Ham game he went home, and he ran through the front door to his dad, and he said, Dad, we won. And he thought he was talking about Manchester United, and he said, what do you mean we've won? He said, yeah, Wigan, we've won. And that was from 2 games, and if we can recreate that over and over again, that's what we're trying to get at with the junior group ticket. But it's a slow process; it doesn't happen overnight. But every time we get so many hundreds of kids coming from these schools for the first taste of Premier League football, we're making steps all the time.
Yeah, so it's a worthwhile.
Of course, the West Ham game was unique, and it was a fantastic atmosphere, fantastic result, and those people that came to that game must be coming back. It's just
it's actually improved over the years, isn't it? Because 25 years ago, my son was the only kid in his school who had a Athletic shirt.
We know the problems with the challenge, I should say, with our fan base, and that has gradually changed over the last 15 years. But that challenge is.
We've been very active, haven't we, in the last 2 years? I would say probably 3 years ago we weren't that active at all. We didn't go into the schools. We didn't promote Wigan Athletic. Now you see banners in schools. It's a sense of pride again, and that's very, very important. And that will bring rewards. It'll bring more people, or people following the club, or I feel good. Sometimes I don't think we realise how lucky we are of supporting Wigan Athletic, and the kids bring that feeling. And I feel that the last 2 years the club we changed massively. Very, very active. That doesn't mean that all the things are going to be successful, but we are very active, and that's why we are open in any ideas and anything that we can do.
Do you guys know about Neil Grimmer's role?
Neil Rimmer.
We've appointed Neil as part of his role. Obviously, he commentates on the radio as well, but part of his role is at schools. What's his official title?
Junior Schools Area Coordinator.
So basically, his role is to go into schools with that in mind, to recruit fans, to get them involved. Obviously, with the end purpose of coming to the games, but also he goes coaching. He goes.
He's also recruiting players at 5 and 6 and 7 to do soccer camps, so that if there is a diamond in there, you make sure that he comes to Wigan Athletic and doesn't go to Everton.
Has a haircut yet?
No. Yes, he has.
He's actually the right character for the job, because he is a very infectious person anyway, isn't he?
But I think the point I'm trying to make is
I think he'd communicate well with going into these schools.
The point I'm trying to make is that the club is actively trying to do this. We've got another an administrative role who started in the last few months as well, with that in mind, a junior fans coordinator. So it's a long process, as John said.
And it's not just Neil; it's the community trust is out there as well, representing Wigan Athletic and the club itself. So we're doing all that. But we rely on the fans to create the atmosphere, and that's that.
So, I mean, I'll open it up to the rest of the table. I mean, what we really want is a positive atmosphere in the ground, because, like you've just said before, that helps the players. So, okay, people, I could guarantee everybody around this table will be try to make a positive atmosphere. But there needs to be somehow that we need to get a better atmosphere, a consistent atmosphere in the old ground, so it's rocking.
It's not easy. I
agree with you. Whenever a game
That's it.
I'm afraid.
I mean,
that's the only way.
That's the only way. Yes.
But at the moment, I would say to you is, when you think about it, you need to do the reverse. You don't praise the team when it's winning. You should be praising the team and trying to encourage it when it's losing.
Talk about Wiganers here.